Hello, everyone. We are in chapter 10, where we are incorporating databases into our programs now. As you see here, inside of Canvas for your student data files, you would need the art access file and the art image. All the rest are pertaining to the case programming assignments at the end of the chapter, which you will be completing, I think, the tech jobs one. So this is where you will come and download your data files that you will need. All right, so let me close this. We're going here. What I wanted to make sure is that you're understanding how to incorporate a database and that you're following the appropriate steps. So here we have the form with the image and the title, all right, the label here. Hopefully you did not move ahead of yourself and add what you see that looks like a text box and labels. This works slightly different, so make sure you're following the steps in order, okay? So for this particular one, we are going to add a database. So add a new data source, and then we're gonna click database and next, data set and next, okay? My computer moves a little slow. You'll see here I had started the connection, so let's do new connection, just make sure we're good. When you click new connection, you're gonna see here it has your data source, your Microsoft Access data file. Then you're gonna browse and go and find your file. I saved it to my desktop that I downloaded from Canvas, and then you're gonna click OK. All right, now you're going to click next. You're gonna click no. You'll see here, yes, save the connection as, and you see your connection string here, so just save it and click next. Now you're going to tell it what you want to appear. So do your drop down of your tables, and you're going to select artist, which is what's in your database, what you want to appear. All right, so those are the objects that you want to check. You have your data set name here, and just click finish. All right, you'll notice here that your data source window is here. If it's not already pinned, you'll see it in your left-hand side where you normally see like toolbox and server explorer and all that listed. In the left-hand side, just click on your data sources in the navigation area and then allow it to appear, okay? And now we're just expanding what we would normally see here. All right, so now we are expanding. We've expanded it, and now we see what has been stored for each of the fields that we have inside of this database. What we're going to do real quick is look in the database file so that you can see what data was transferred. Okay, so hold on a second, it moves a little slow. All right, so when you open the database file, double click artist, and you will see this is the information that's in the database. So now you're incorporating all this data with your program, okay? So let's minimize that. So you'll see art ID, artist name, art title, location, which you saw each of those fields there, and each of them have information stored under each item, all right? So now what we're going to do is now we're going to bind these to our form. So go ahead and drag and drop each object, art ID, which is the first one, and you'll notice on page 727 how it's aligned, and you'll just make sure you align it that way, okay? So let's go ahead and just move it over here. You'll notice that the box here is a little smaller, a little shorter. All right, and then we'll go ahead and drag and drop artist name, which is next to it. All right, let's give it a little space. Make sure it's aligned. Make sure it's aligned together a little bit and extend it. Okay. Then we're going to drag and drop art titles. So click on that. That's going to come here. These are going to line up. Let's move this up just a little bit so we can make sure we have space. All right. And the title is going to be a little longer to make sure it holds the full title. And then we're going to drag and drop location here, which is going to be lined up with the location. All right. Let's extend it. All right. And then we're going to add collection. All right. Then, okay, let's do this. I think mine is freezing up. Hold on a second. I mean to double click, and we're gonna move that. And then collection, we're aligning it with the title. All right, and then retail price is gonna be here. All right, let's line these up as well. This is a little shorter. All right. So now we have all those. We've added them. Let's save that. And then now we're going to add, so we need our toolbox. We need a button and a label. So go and add our toolbox. And we're going to add a label. Let's go ahead and do the label since we see that right there. And follow the same steps you would normally follow and give your label a name. Let's just call it total value, right? And LBL total value. And then for the text field or property, we're going to have 23 capital X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. All right. It's a little small, so we're going to change the font and make it a little bigger. So 12 and regular, everything else is fine. Let's just make sure we can see it, okay? And then on top of that, we're gonna add a button. So come over here, drag and drop a button. And we're gonna rename that button to BTN. BTN. Total price. This is going to print the total price of the collection. And then we're going to come here and the text that's going to appear is total retail value. All right, and we're going to change that, resize it so we can see it. You can change the color and the size and the font and all that if you want to. I just wanted to make sure we have what you have. We have the same type of information so we can see what's happening. All right, so now what we're gonna do, okay, let's make sure that this label is not visible when it pulls up because we don't need that yet. So let's set it to false. So when the form loads, it shouldn't be visible. All right, so let's go ahead and click start and debug it. So now we're creating that connection with our data source file where it's going to retrieve the information that's in our database, in our data. So give it a second, a few seconds. Okay, now we have our form. So you'll see here that it has all the information from the database. So let's come here to the database and you'll see each of the items are there. Let's minimize it so you can see it a little bit more. So you'll notice E27, that's our first item, Liam Fix, Energy of Love. It's a public collection and you'll see that's the first item. So if we click and go to the very end, okay, I'm sorry, this is where I added to the database, which is totally okay. This wouldn't be the last one. If you're running this program right now and following along with me, this would be your last one. Okay, that's just an item that I added just for testing purposes. So you will see here that inside of this particular database, you have the T28, that's the last one. But when you're running your program and you allow someone else to add more information to it, it'll allow you to add one, okay? So let's go to the next one. So what we're gonna do, just so that you can see how to add an item, if you click here, this plus sign here allows you to add one. So let's just add another one, make up one. I don't know, I love her songs. Let's just say music. I don't know where she lives, but collection, and we'll just do something different, say private, retail price. I think I did that amount for the other one. All right, 136. And then we save that, and now we have an 18. We have another item. All right. So now we have an item inside that we've added to the end. All right. Now, say for example, we want to delete one. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to delete, say we're going to delete T18. So if you wanted to delete, you just click the X here and save, and it deleted one. Okay, so you'll notice that it changes out the total, that number of items that's inside. Okay, so save, delete, or add. All right, right now our total value, retail value button isn't working. And then also add an exit button somewhere. All right, so that we can exit. So let's close that. And what we're gonna do is go to the button, and all of your code is in the book that you have to type for your button. So to save time, I just went ahead and typed it inside of a text file, just so that you can kind of see. So I'm just gonna take, what I have and paste it. It's everything in the book, just to kind of go through what's happening here. Let's do 50%. Hopefully you can see this. This here is creating a string SQL. This is like basically you creating a query, telling it what you want to select from, what information that you're wanting to select. So the asterisk just means all, so that just keeps it from having to be like super specific as to which field you're wanting to do. Your path, if you recall, where you saved it, just depends on where you saved it. I've saved it on my G Drive and on my desktop. Desktop is too deep of a directory path, so if you save it directly on your USB, it'll be easier. It's kind of like when we did in chapter 8. It's easier to access, so you'll see it's here on my G Drive, so I can just use G and it'll go ahead and grab it for me. Make sure this information inside is completely accurate, so you won't have any errors. So the spacing, the non-spacing, all of that is important. If you recall, when we were creating the connection, this was our provider. So you want to make sure that it's super specific as far as the path. And then that value, DAT value, is basically an object that you're creating of the data table that's going to allow you to use this particular embedded class here, okay? And then int count is going to be our counter variable, and this here is going to be our cumulative sum variable that's going to basically sum up all of the values, all right? So now you have, so basically you're just taking now the artist and you're filling all the values. So that value is just basically temporarily representing the object here, data table, and it's just going to allow you to add the value, and then it's telling it to just close the database. Now your for loop here is going to basically traverse and add up all the values. So you're basically going by rows and looking at your counter. So you're counting up for all of them. It's going to calculate that total price. All right, so it's going to give us the total retail price. So it's going to give us the total retail price of the entire collection. This is a compound assignment operator. So back a couple chapters back where we use the variable to basically keep track. So you'll notice that it's converting it to a decimal what you're passing. So each item inside of it, your data set as far as the prices is being taken and added up together. Okay. Then once it's done, we're making our label visible, and then we want it to print whatever that total value is that was calculated. Okay. So let's click save and let's execute it again. And you'll notice that this time our button will be functional. Okay, so now you see all of the information. You can still click through, move to the next one, and move to all of them. You'll notice that the different prices, the total amounts here. So we're going to be grabbing that total amount, all of those amounts, and adding them up. So when we click the total retail value, you'll notice that the total here now is printed. Okay, so you'll see here that it has been updated. All right. That's basically it. I would say definitely add an exit button so that you can make sure that, and maybe a clear button too, if you want to, be able to start back over it and reset and just come back, clear this out and come back and click it again. But you'll notice here, it has each of the items. All right. So hopefully you were successful in incorporating the database into your program. I'm up here deleting, so let's just close that. Hopefully you have had some experience with Access, and it kind of gave you an even broader idea of how Access can be used with programs. But this completes the Chapter 10 lab. So once you complete it, zip your file and submit it. I'll see you guys in the next video.